1 Kings begins as David's reign comes to an end. Solomon becomes king and asks God for wisdom. God grants Solomon wisdom beyond measure. Solomon builds the temple in Jerusalem. God's glory fills the temple. But Solomon's heart slowly turns away. After Solomon, the kingdom splits in two. Many kings lead Israel away from God. God raises up prophets like Elijah. God answers Elijah with fire from heaven. But the people continue to drift. 1 Kings shows that wisdom without obedience leads to division. The story leaves us longing for a faithful king.
Welcome. I certainly hope that you liked the opening video. Today's teaching is on the book of 1 Kings and a message that I have titled, Wisdom, Wealth, and the Seeds of Division. Solomon had everything: unmatched wisdom, unimaginable wealth, peace on every border, the presence of God dwelling in the temple, and yet his kingdom did not last. 1 Kings tells the story of Israel at its height. It explains how collapse can begin even while everything looks successful. This book asks a sobering question. How can a nation blessed by God slowly drift toward division and decline? The purpose and big idea of 1 Kings is that it continues the story after David's death. It records Solomon's rise and reign, the construction of the temple, and the height of Israel's glory, and the beginning of national division. Here is a one-sentence big idea. 1 Kings reveals that wisdom and blessing flourish under obedience, but divided hearts lead to spiritual decline and national fracture. A key anchor verse is 1 Kings 8:61 that says, "Let your heart therefore be wholly true to the Lord our God." That call is not accidental. It is prophetic. Here are the major themes of 1 Kings. These 5 themes shape the entire book. Number 1, God grants wisdom for righteous leadership. Number 2, blessings flow from covenant faithfulness. 3, prosperity can mask individual drift. 4, divided hearts lead to divided kingdoms. Number 5, God remains faithful amid decline. 1 Kings is a warning wrapped in blessing. Section 1, Solomon's rise and God-given wisdom. This covers 1 Kings chapters 1 through 4. The book opens with a fragile transition. David is old, the throne is contested, and God establishes Solomon as king. In 1 Kings 3:9, Solomon asks for wisdom. God grants the wisdom and much more. Solomon's reign begins with humility and dependence. And in 1 Kings 4:29, God gives wisdom as the sand on the seashore. And leadership flourishes when it depends on God. Section 2, the temple and God's dwelling place. This covers 1 Kings chapters 5 through 8. Solomon builds the temple. This is the spiritual high point of Israel's history. 1 Kings 8:10 through 11 says, God's glory fills the temple. When the priests withdrew from the holy place, the cloud filled the temple of the Lord, and the priests could not perform their service because of the cloud. For the glory of the Lord filled his temple. Solomon says a prayer that emphasizes God's faithfulness, the need for repentance, and God's mercy towards his people. In 1 Kings 8:27, Solomon declares that heaven and the highest heaven cannot contain you. More specifically, the full verse reads like this: "But will God really dwell on earth? The heavens, even the highest heaven, cannot contain you. How much less this temple I have built?" Through this, we see that God desires presence, not buildings. Section 3, promise, warning, and conditional faithfulness. This covers 1 Kings chapters 9 through 11. Here we see that God appears to Solomon again. 1 Kings 9, 4 through 5, it talks about a conditional blessing. It reads like this. As for you, if you walk before me faithfully with integrity of heart and uprightness, as David your father did, and do all the command that I command and observe my decrees and laws, I will establish your royal throne over Israel forever. As I promised David your father when I said, you shall never fail to have a successor on the throne of Israel. But Solomon's heart begins to drift. In 1 Kings 11:4, we see his heart was not wholly true to the Lord. And the verse reads like this. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods. And his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. So you see, foreign alliances lead to idolatry. Wisdom without obedience leads to compromise, and these are the seeds of division that are planted quietly. Section 4, a kingdom divided. This covers 1 Kings chapters 12 through 14. After Solomon's death, the kingdom splits. Rehoboam listens to pride instead of wisdom. In 1 Kings 12:16, the people ask, what portion do we have in David? When all Israel saw that the king refused to listen to them, they answered the king, what share do we have in David? What part in Jesse's sons? To your tents, Israel. Look after your own house, David. So the Israelites went home. Jeroboam establishes counterfeit worship. 1 Kings 12:28, the golden calf returns. After seeking advice, the king made 2 golden calves. He said to the people, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Here are your gods, Israel, who brought you out of Egypt. Political security replaces spiritual faithfulness, and division becomes permanent. Section 5, prophets, idolatry, and God's voice. This covers 1 Kings chapters 15 through 18. The narrative shifts from kings to prophets. Elijah confronts Ahab and Jezebel. In 1 Kings 18:21, he asked them, how long will you limp between 2 opinions? Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. But the people said nothing. Then an event on Mount Carmel exposes false gods. We see this in 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 16 through 46, which I'm going to read. So to give context here. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. When he saw Elijah, he said to him, is that you, you troubler of Israel? I have not made trouble for Israel, Elijah replied. But you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah, who eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between 2 opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. But the people said nothing. Then Elijah said to them, am I the only one of the Lord's prophets left? But Baal has 450 prophets. Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one for themselves, and let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but not set it on fire. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by fire, he is God. Then all the people said, what you say is good. Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, choose one of the bulls and prepare it first, since there are so many of you. Call on the name of your God, but do not light the fire. So they took the bull that was given to them and prepared it. Then they called on the name of Baal from morning till noon. Baal, answer us, they shouted. But there was no response, and no one answered. And they danced around the altar that they had made. At noon, Elijah began to taunt them. Shout louder, he said. Surely he is a god. Perhaps he is deep in thought or busy, or maybe even traveling. Maybe he is sleeping and must be awakened. So they shouted louder and slashed themselves with swords and spears, as was their custom, until their blood flowed. Midday passed and they continued their frantic prophesying until the time for the evening sacrifice. But there was no response. No one answered. No one paid attention. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come here to me." They came to him. And he repaired the altar of the Lord, which had been torn down. Elijah took 12 stones, one from each of the tribes' descendants from Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come, saying, "Your name shall be Israel." With the stones, he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he dug a trench around it large enough to hold 2 seahs of seed. He arranged the wood, cut the bull into pieces, and laid it on the wood. Then he said to them, "Fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and on the wood." "Do it again," he said, and they did it again. "Do it a 3rd time," he ordered, and they did it the 3rd time. The water ran down around the altar and even filled the trench. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me, so these people will know that you are Lord, our God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God." Then Elijah commanded them, "Seize the prophets of Baal. Don't let anyone get away." And they seized them, and Elijah had them brought down to the Kishon Valley and slaughtered them there. I want to highlight verse 39 here, when it said, and this is the section that says, "When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, 'The Lord, he is good. The Lord, he is good.'" And God, at that point, calls his people back, even after their compromise. Section 6, God's patient and quiet voice. This covers 1 Kings chapters 19 through 22. Elijah flees in despair. God meets him, not in fire or wind, but a whisper. 1 Kings 19:12 speaks of a still small voice that spoke to him. The book ends with continued decline, but sustained prophecy. And God remains active even when leaders fail. So here is why 1 Kings matters today. 1 Kings teaches us, number 1, that success does not guarantee faithfulness. Number 2, that wisdom must be guarded by obedience. Number 3, that compromise often begins quietly. And number 4, that God speaks even in decline. What this book does is it confronts comfortable faith. If you want to live rooted in purpose, 1 Kings challenges us like this. It shows us that a divided heart will eventually lead to a divided life. It teaches us that wisdom is a gift, but faithfulness is a choice, and that God desires hearts that are fully devoted to him and that are not partially surrendered.